Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? The Sixers snapped the 4-game losing skid by beating the OKC Thunder at home. The Wells Fargo Center is obviously a comfortable spot for this 76ers squad, and this is a good win. When you look at the Thunder, they won 5 straight. They won 9 of their last 10, so they are a team that's playing hot basketball. They have a lot of confidence right now, and I'm sure they were thinking, okay, Philly at home, we can beat that team. There's no doubt we can beat that team. Well, they couldn't, and I thought the Sixers played strong. I'm not telling you they played the most perfect game in the world, but they worked hard. They competed harder than the Thunder. They worked hard on the glass, even though the Thunder out-rebounded them. Timely rebounds played a factor, and late in the game, it was smooth. They made shots. They executed. They made their free throws. They didn't turn the ball over a lot of times. Like, everything was really good when it came down to the wire of this thing, and that makes me happy because there has been a lot of talk about how ugly things have been late in games. There's a lot to break down in this one, but before we do, we need to hear a word from my sponsor, SeatGeek. Are you looking to buy tickets to a game? If so, I can give money off. I can give you money off of those tickets. If you use the SeatGeek promo code BROADS when buying your tickets at checkout, you get $20 off of your total purchase. That's free beer. That's free food. That's free parking. It's a no-brainer to use the promo code BROADS today. Let's start with Ben Simmons. I know Joel Embiid's finger was a big-time concern, and it was ugly, and it was really gross looking as it was sticking the wrong way. But I want to start with Ben Simmons because I thought Ben Simmons was very strong in this game. He had 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists. He was all over the place, and he was used as a screener once again with Josh Richardson. Keep an eye out on that. It's effective, it's working, and he has been put in a better position to score the basketball. Pre-game, Brett Brown was being asked all these questions by the media about how Ben Simmons isn't shooting threes and how he isn't answering when Brett Brown came out and said, man, I want you to shoot at least 1 3-pointer a game, right? He hasn't had that. Ben Simmons wasn't doing that, so he was getting questioned about it, and Brett answered them, and a lot of beat reporters were tweeting what was going on. John Johnson stated, it seems as if Brett Brown is giving the answers of, I've tried everything with this kid and it's not working. He's just not going to be shooting the threes. Well, okay. Well, what does Brett Brown do then? Well, he utilizes him in a different way. This screener role is working. It's flat out working. It's successful, and you're seeing Ben with a different type of confidence, and he's going to the basket at a different rate, and I really like what I'm seeing. It even worked to the other degree. Like, instead of Ben Simmons getting the basket, it worked because of the same setup, and Josh Richardson ended up knocking down a 3. So all around, I really loved that 2-man game, and as a whole, Ben was awesome. Late in the game, it was about a 4-point differential. Sixers had the lead. Ben had the ball at the top of the 3-point line, and he drove the basket and made the layup. Now, we are so used to seeing Ben Simmons drive the lane, kick it out to a teammate. Drive hard, kick it out to a teammate late in the game. I don't care who was guarding him. I don't care the situation. For him to drive and make the basket and want to score, that's a step in the right direction, is it not? We have never seen that out of Ben Simmons throughout his career so far. So I love the fact that he was willing to make the play, to be the guy. It was a close game, and it was under 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. Seriously, we've never seen that out of Ben Simmons. I thought he was awesome. Let's get to Joel. Also awesome, considering he had one hand. Now, reports after the game stated that it's possible he doesn't play on Thursday against the Boston Celtics, and that's annoying. I want to see him play. It's a big-time rival. I get it, right? I mean, I understand. His finger was obviously in the wrong spot. I mean, it was broken. It was dislocated. It was pointing all these different ways. It was, that's the best way to describe it. So I understand if he can't go. It's just annoying because I want to see him play. I want to have the best. I want to have our full-time roster when we were going up against a team like the Boston Celtics. But Joel Embiid flirted with a triple-double. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Passing the basketball. Beautiful. And this is all with one hand. He was diving on the floor as soon as he came back with his finger taped and all fixed up. I did cringe at times. They're like, Joel, what are you doing? Come on, there's no reason to go on the floor like that. What if he banged bodies with another guy and his hand snaps again? I mean, why are we diving on the floor? But he was talking to the media after the game, and he said, I wanted to play. I wanted to snap this losing skid. I wanted to make sure we got a victory. I wanted to be a leader and show that I wanted to win. Okay. Well, continue to be the leader. I'm not saying that means if you're medically ruled out on Thursday that you demand to play. I'm not going to that degree. I mean, if you're medically not cleared, you can't really demand to play. But what I'm saying is play good basketball. Be the guy you need to be. And that doesn't mean drop 38 points every single night, because I think this team actually does really well when there's balanced scoring. When you take a look at the team in this performance, I mean, a lot of guys were getting double digits. A lot of guys were scoring the basketball. I think the team does better that way compared to the alternative where Joel Embiid drops 35, Josh Richardson has 6, Al Horford has 4, Ben has 10, Tobias has 14. Like, I don't know if the team does as well as they do when it's balanced scoring. 50% from 3. 13 of 26, knocking it down. Coach Brett Brown wanted to hunt for 3-pointers. Okay, Brett, that's the motto? Well, they were willing to do it. And he challenged them. He said, you make your shots. Make your shots. He wanted to hunt for threes. And it worked in this one. There's no denying it. And I also heard something very interesting as well on Sixers Outsiders. Brett Brown was asked about the difference with this team when it comes to drawing up plays and letting the team play freely. And we've seen Brett go with this mindset of letting the team play. Go out there, run around, make plays happen on your own. Well, he's starting to realize that this team does better when they are coached with possessions, where they are stopping things, slowing things down, drawing up plays, getting to specific spots. Well, if that's the case, if he is doing that more, it worked in this one. But he was asked about it, and he said analytics show that we are better when we draw up plays, when he guides the team more than letting them play freely. So he's working with some things. Between the two-man game with Josh Richardson and Ben Simmons, things are starting to look different. And he's trying different things. It's not as if he's doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're starting to see all different types of looks and plays and rotations. Trey Burke, for example. It seems as if Trey Burke won his job, got his job. He had a nice little night. In 16 minutes, he had 12 points, and he's starting to score. He made some timely shots. And for everyone who was ripping apart Brett for even giving Raul Neto a chance, any coach in the world in the start of the season gives players chances. He gives players opportunities to go out there and attempt to prove that he is worthy of playing. That doesn't make Brett a bad coach. And at one point, Neto was shooting 50% from 3. So now that Trey Burke seemed to take the bigger step and take the bigger jump, Trey Burke has won all the minutes. I have no problem with giving people opportunities early in an NBA season. That makes sense to me. And instead of giving these players 12 minutes one night, then not playing for a couple games, 12 minutes the next night. No, he gives these players multiple games with a ton of minutes in a row to see if they can catch groove. I don't think that's the wrong way to do things. If you're a coach, you give your players an opportunity to perform and prove to you that they are capable of playing. Now you saw enough of a sample size where, okay, Trey Burke is the guy. Let's not act like he doesn't have flaws, though, right? I mean, he can't really defend very well. There's this weird Trey Burke stans. There's this group of huge Trey Burke supporters, and I get it. He has a spark in him. He helps this team, but I don't understand the stan part of it. 16 to 20 minutes a night, 16, 18 minutes a night. Yeah, it's a nice role. But I think that there are some people out there that believe Trey Burke could be a starter and be this guy who's the starting point guard. And let's slow down. He's got a nice role, and I think he's making the most of it, and I love what he brings to the table. Let's not get to an extreme on playing him 40 minutes a night, because there are people out there that seem that that's the move. which is crazy to me. Al Horford. How about Al Horford? 13 points? Yes. 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 Let's go, Al. Let's go, Uncle Al. Let's find yourself. Let's get out of that slump. And it's not just him, Mike Scott. Mike Scott's drilling threes in the fourth quarter? Disgusting. And I say that in a good way. I was pumped up. I talked about how this game kind of didn't feel as great because of the Eagles' loss. But when Mike Scott was drilling those threes, yeah, I was into it then. I was into it. Because he's been so brutal. So brutal. He needs to do that. He needs to score. He needs to knock down those threes. That's the only way he's going to help this basketball team. That's the Mike Scott we need. He was able to do that. One thing that cracks me up, though, with this broadcast, Allah annoys me now. I'll be honest with you. I just can't stand him. His love for Furkan Korkmaz blows my mind. Blows my mind. Furkan had like a mid-range jumper inside the free throw line, and it was one-footed. And Allah's all amazed. Oh, show him. Oh, look at that move. What are you talking about? It's an 8-foot jump shot, 10-foot jump shot. What are you doing? What are you getting so obsessed about Furkan Korkmaz for? I can't stand it. I can't stand the Allah love for him. I mean, he goes way too overboard for what Furkan's doing. And of course, I can't stand Furkan, so yeah, it bothers me. Shut up, Allah. I don't get the love. I don't get the love. Steve Adams, though. Steven Adams was a beast. He had 9 offensive boards. He had 24 points. Now, you can factor in that Embiid playing with one hand could have been the difference. Embiid said his biggest issues was rebounding. He had a problem rebounding with this hand problem. So, you know, it makes sense, but Steven Adams is a beast, and he's a hard guy to move, and he's a tough you-know-what. So, he's going to get his at times, and I thought he did a great job grabbing those offensive rebounds and scoring buckets. He was a problem. Chris Paul knocked down some threes. I think he had 4 to finish the night, but he only shot 6 of 16. So it wasn't as if he was this guy that really scored an obnoxious amount of points and hurt the Sixers all around throughout the game. Steven Adams, to me, was the most impactful guy on the Thunder. They have some nice players. Of course, they got SGA from the trade with the Clippers, and I think he has a bright future, but he's still learning as well. I actually think he ran into Furkan Korkmaz, speaking of the devil, on a charge. Corky with the charge, and the ball goes the other way. The refs blow the whistle and point the other way. Oh, unbelievable. But I thought Josh Richardson was strong. And the team only threw the ball away 10 times, which is really good for this team. So the moral of the story here is you're starting to see different looks. You're starting to see the team play differently and trying different things. And I think that there is value in that. Whether you're a Brett Brown supporter or hater or you're in the middle, you're seeing him trying different things, doing different things. And they seem to be working. He challenged the team by hunting three-pointers, which is very interesting because this team hasn't really been a lights-out shooting team. Now, I will say this. I don't think they're as bad as it's perceived, but they're not a 50% three-point shooting team either, right? So they're somewhere in between as bad as you think they really are and this. So I find it interesting that the coach called them out to go hunt the three-pointers, but they executed. They made their threes. They were able to do it. Will they be able to do it like this consistently? Probably not to this degree, but let's see where it goes. I'm more fascinated with Ben Simmons as the screener because I think the team really found something there. It's the way he's going to the basket. It's his mindset coming off that screen. It changes a lot, and right now it's effective. I want to see that continue to happen. And I want to see if Brett continues to call more plays instead of letting them play freely. Boston. 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 we all know we're not happy with where the Sixers are right now in terms of record and where they fall in the Eastern Conference standings, right? But it's Sixers time now. Football in Philadelphia, it's over. That transition, it's happening. And the Sixers are going to be on the microscope. They know that. There's no way they don't know that. So I think they're going to pick it up. I think us as a fan base is going to get even harsher, which is crazy to think about, yes. But I think they know that, and I think they're ready to take on that challenge, and they got comfortable at home. That's not a bad thing. I'm not going to discredit them for winning a basketball game at home after losing 4 on the road. I've heard some crazy things out there. Oh, well, who cares? They can win at home. That's great. Can they win on the road? I get it. I get the frustration. I understand that it's annoying that they're not winning games on the road, and it seems as if they're not as passionate to play somewhere else other than the Wells Fargo Center. But with a team like the Thunder coming into town, winning 9 of their last 10 and 5 in a row, I can't discredit them for winning a game and snapping their losing streak, even though it's on their home floor, even though they're shooting at a high rate where they probably won't be able to hold that all season long. I'm not going to take that away from them. They executed, they made plays, their players stepped up. When you look at the roster and you look at the stat sheet and you look at the scoring, players made shots. Players scored. It was balanced, and I think that's very meaningful. Not just the scoring, too. I mean, a lot of players had a decent amount of assists. A lot of players had a decent amount of rebounds. Ben Simmons with 15 boards, it's so ridiculous. Effort. Rebounding is effort. I drill it to you guys all the time because that's how it is. If you are willing to rebound, if you are willing to go up and beat your opponent one-on-one for a rebound, it's just effort. Of course, if Trey Burke gives you a 1,000,000% effort and Steven Adams gives you 50, okay, you got to be realistic when it comes to size and situational rebounding. But all around, when you look at rebounding as a whole, it comes down to being willing to do it. And I think they were, even though they were out-rebounded, it came down to timely rebounds. Late down the stretch. Making your free throws. Making your shots, executing your shots, getting the loose balls throughout the game, all of it. And speaking of free throws, Ben Simmons, 5 of 6 from the line. So making his free throws. Now, every time I praise him for something like this, I feel like the next game is like 2 for 7. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But I think Ben has been playing a strong game. I think he's been doing really well over the last few games. And one thing that I admire with him is just his defense, and it's so good. It's so good. It's almost unrealistic how good he is defensively when he turns it on. And he does turn it on more times than not. It's not like he's a lazy basketball player on the defensive end. What Ben Simmons brings to the table defensively is obnoxiously good. And it doesn't stand out to anyone because it's not a scoring number. If you can somehow score defense like you can points, people would look at Ben Simmons differently. But what he brings to the table defensively is elite. Elite isn't even doing it justice. He's so talented on that defensive side of the floor. That doesn't mean I'm not frustrated with what he does offensively at times. And once again, for the millionth time, I think you're starting to see him utilized in a good way where it's to his strong suit. But when you look at his defense, I drop my jaw. And it takes a lot to do that in a basketball game. You got to be that noticeable. You got to be that good on the defensive side of the floor to really catch people's attention to that degree. My jaw is hitting the floor. It's crazy. And it wasn't as if the whole team played stellar defense throughout this game. I'm just talking about Ben Simmons as a whole. I thought early on, maybe they didn't get back and transition D well enough throughout this game early, but things definitely changed. And as we all know, since we are NBA fans, as games go on, things get tighter. Players work harder in the fourth quarter and late in the third than they do in the first and second. But I saw a few times Steven Adams run up and down the floor and just transition points so easily. No one getting back as hard. Things did eventually change, though, and the Sixers did their job, and I thought they did well in this game at the end of the day. Like I stated, it wasn't as if it was the prettiest game in the world and there were zero flaws in this. No, I'm not saying that, but for the circumstances, for that team playing so well and for the Sixers playing so poor, for them to shoot this well and for them to answer Brett Brown's hunting the threes message, good for them. Good for them. And we'll hear more about Joel Embiid's finger as the week moves on. And hopefully, let's pray to the basketball gods that he will be able to play against the Boston Celtics. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. I want to hear your comments down below. And I will see you next time.